Hey everybody, welcome to The Bottom Line. I'm Michael Nolan. Kiss is back in the fray, but really, how could they be anything but when Ace Frehley opens his mouth? And indeed, he has done so yet again. Yesterday on Sirius XM, Trunk Nation, he was asked how he feels about Kiss doing their last shows, especially concerning Madison Square Garden. Now, Ace replied saying he didn't think these were going to be the last shows for Kiss. He says they've said this before, time and time again, and they just keep coming back. But then he was asked if he was going to show up on the show, even though he has said many times that he would not. Once again, he said, well, I'd show up if they'd write me a check for $1 million. Sometimes he quotes $250,000, $500,000. But Ace has a revolving fee, I guess, these days. But you know what? I really like this guy. He's up front. You know, he even goes to the point of calling members of Kiss, I guess he's talking mainly Gene Simmons, Paul Stanley, that they're atheists, that they worship the mighty buck. Interesting, because he keeps quoting dollar amounts to even show up for these shows. But you know what? I don't blame him. This tour has earned Kiss hundreds of millions of dollars, and he is one of the original members of this band. As a matter of fact, he even says that both him and Peter Criss were contacted by the band to cooperate with the Kiss documentary. Both him and Peter Criss wanted some say-so. They wanted to be able to have say-so in the edit of that film. Of course, Gene Simmons responded immediately by saying, we don't have the power to edit that film. I can't give it to you. You know, that's interesting. Can you imagine Gene Simmons not having say-so on a documentary about him? It's a little too precious, Gene. I don't believe you for a second. Now, it's important to mention that Ace Frehley in this interview said, I don't really have too much to say bad about these guys. Of course, we know that's not totally true, but he did say that he really had a whole lot of love for these guys, that together with them and Peter, they created something special, and so that he's always thankful for that. Now, we've talked about on this channel before that Gene Simmons has said that the band has contacted both Ace and Peter in order to get them up for these last shows. But Ace Frehley is saying they have never been contacted. That's interesting because Gene Simmons is so sad and angry that they haven't responded. But as of the time of this interview, Ace has at least responded, and he's given them the terms for which he would show up. He wants to be paid. Just imagine that. A musician wanting to be paid what he's worth. When asked about the fact that Tommy Thayer is wearing his makeup and how confusing that would be live, he says, look, $250,000, I'll show up. I'm a good-looking guy. I don't need the makeup. Now, so far, we've talked about a lot of dialogue between Ace Frehley and Gene Simmons, but Ace Frehley in this interview says that it's not so much Gene Simmons that is the barrier. He said that it is Paul Stanley that controls that band these days. And you know what? It seems to me by Paul Stanley's statements that he neither has time nor wherewithal to deal with either one of these two former Kiss mates. But the bottom line, so to speak, is that Ace Frehley blames mainly Paul Stanley for both him and Peter Criss not showing up. All right, so here's my question to you. Do you guys even care at this point that the original members of Kiss should be on stage? I personally think that a band ceases to be a band after you lose so many members. You might be able to lose one. perhaps even 2, but not in a quartet usually, folks. I mean, the Beatles were never the Beatles without even Ringo. So with Kiss claiming still to be Kiss with 2 key replacement members, are they even Kiss anymore? All right, so I hope you enjoyed the video tonight. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. That helps with channel growth. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, the invitation is out. All you have to do is hit that subscribe to the tribe button, tap that top bell icon, and you'll be notified of all of my future videos. All right, I'm Michael Nolan. This is The Bottom Line. And together, folks, we are the tribe.